Welcome to the commentary booth where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator Jamie Epps, and each week I'm joined by a rotating cast of color commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a impact fee technician who lists their favorite movie as A Nightmare on Elm Street and favorite TV show as Golden Girls. Welcome back to the show, Corrina Mabey.
Hello. How goes it?
Pretty good. And I just remembered all of your favorite things without having them written down for
I'm
once.
so proud of you. I would really hope you would remember that since we've been together for like God knows how long and marriage on the horizon and shit. So kudos to you. I'm proud of you. Let's
I
see
was
if you
going
can.
through the intro and I looked down, I was like, oh, that's still just like the placeholder things of insert job title and movie title and TV title here. I was like, oh,
Let's test your knowledge. What's my favorite? Who is my favorite Golden Girl? Do you even know all four Golden Girls?
no. I
Damn.
thought there was three.
Wow. And that, folks, is the one that stole my heart. Who does know the
You're
other
like the one that
four?
runs around with a knife.
Sophia. That's her name. And she is my inspiration every day. I wake up and I choose violence.
That's why I always send you the gif of the stabby stab when it's her.
That's me. Yep. In my heart, I am Sophia.
Yeah, in terms of some stabby stab, this week, Karina once again joins me as we begin day 2 in Seattle to continue our weekly episodic breakdown reviews of The Last of Us Season 2. Episode 5 is titled Feel Her Love, clocks in at 45 minutes, is the shortest episode of the season so far, and probably likely to be the shortest episode of the season. Again, this episode starts with a sort of lore expansion element that we couldn't get in the game when we're shown inside the hospital and we see a stairwell that is welded shut. And then they kind of speak about, oh, we sent a group down in there, and then they realized that the Cordyceps was in the air, so they just said seal us in, seal the doors, everything. So then they obviously welded the door shut. When we see that the door is welded shut and we're introduced to this concept, the spores, what did you think of this scene, and why do you think that basement is so strongly and securely sealed off?
I like this. I did not realize this was not in the game. So that's fun because I feel like it would have been a great like scene from the game. So
You just got to think anything that isn't Ellie or Abby is brand new. If
okay.
neither of them are directly involved, it's most likely brand new.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I enjoyed this. I think it gave a lot more context to what is ahead for Ellie and Dina, probably. Because they're so in pursuit of finding Abby and her gang of idiots. But yeah, I feel like this is like a good kind of like look at what's to come probably for them. And I think it was done really well. It wasn't a really it was I didn't expect it to get to be an emotional scene, but there is a part where it actually does become emotional, without leaning too heavily in the like, sorrow side of things. It's kind of just like, they accept it and call it a day. But it was really interesting to see it all sealed off and just, you know, they all kind of like don't know really what to do at that point. Like I know that they had orders and they sealed it off, but I feel like they're all kind of confused as to what really could potentially be down there that's so terrible.
Yeah, the fact that the guys went down and then immediately like, oh, it's in the air, like you just need to seal this off, like seal everything,
Yeah.
don't come and get us, don't let us come back up, like just completely seal this off because it's in the air, like it needs to be. Don't just
Yeah.
block the doors, like weld them shut, like airtight this
Yeah.
thing. And there is something else to come down in that basement, which we kind of, this teases, and we get the Ellie turns on the electric box, which brings the red light on later in the episode. And that's like a big tease for something coming in. Most likely, by the looks of it, we're getting that big moment not next week. It'll be the week after. I think that's going to be the big like finale of this season. reveal of this thing down there.
That'll be interesting because yeah, like I feel like with the people that are like upstairs essentially that have no idea what's going on, they're probably really highly confused. Like I know it's in the air, but like if we just close the doors, keep everything kind of like closed, it should be okay kind of moment. So the fact that they were told to like seal everything airtight shut, whatever, probably leads them to think like what else could be happening down there. Um Also, side note, and this is just me being curious, is if it is in the air, how has it not traveled through air vents? Because in a hospital, air is constantly circulating. So that's my one little like ding of questioning.
Yeah, I thought that too when I was watching. I was like, but there's air vents, wouldn't that just? I guess the aircon isn't on, like,
Yeah, they don't
or the
really have, I
power's
guess,
off.
general power. It's just like a generator, I guess. So maybe the air vents don't necessarily
Yeah,
work all the
yeah.
time.
The power's probably only for because they're just like using portable generators to power specific things that they need. So I guess the
Yeah.
aircon's not on, so it's not like flowing through properly. I guess is the reasoning there. It
Yeah.
would still kind of get up in there eventually, but I
Yeah,
guess
it
it did
struck
it
me as
slower.
odd that no one was worried about the air vents like having that kind of effect. But hey, I mean, it still worked well. So
And maybe they like blocked those off as well
yeah,
when they heard about it. They're like, oh yeah, seal everything. So
yeah,
there is also a little teaser in here as well when there's a line that mentions that even the rats got out of here. Like there's not even rats down in the basement anymore, which is that's not a
crazy.
great sign.
No,
When even rats are like, nope, fuck this, get out of here.
yeah, not my jam. Sorry.
Overall, though, what did you think of this episode before we go in and break it all down?
This might be the shortest episode, but this is by far my favorite episode.
Oh,
It has actually topped
topped
all the
last
other
week.
ones. It topped last week. Yeah.
Why?
Uh, I actually enjoyed this. It was a very well paced episode. Nothing. I didn't feel like anything was actually wasted in this episode, whereas like previous ones have had some of that dead space. But I feel like this actually used like all of the time was used properly for it. There is a lot of things that I enjoyed seeing uncovered. I really enjoyed seeing Ellie kind of step into like a more mature role and really like almost like embody Joel in a sense. I feel like she kind of really like channeled her inner Joel in this episode towards the end. So yeah, I was really really happy with this episode. It actually made me really happy. Minus the ending. The ending of this episode can go straight to fucking hell. Um, but that's just because of me.
Yeah, they crammed a lot into this episode. So yeah,
Hmm.
45 minutes flies by in this one because you
Yeah.
get backstory for Ellie and Dina a little bit and like further development of them and kind of two big action sequences, which is unusual for this. Like I think the last time we got two big action sequences would have been the Joel episode, episode
Hmm.
2.
Yeah.
Whereas the subsequent ones have been like story heavy and then one big moment. This
Right.
one was kind of two converging big moments.
Yeah.
But again, no Abby. So I'm starting more and more to think we're not getting Abby again until next season.
Yeah, or at least the last episode of this season where like it ends with like Abby's like opening sequence or something like that maybe. Or like it just ends off like like they show like the final scene and then at the very end it just it says in like the bottom corner like day 1, like Seattle day 1 and then just goes black. I'd be, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah, I think what it's going to do is just like we're going to get the big reveal thing from the basement,
Sure.
and then we're going to find out that Abby is witnessing that go down.
Okay.
Because, like, in the game, they're kind of both in the same place without realizing they're both in the same place,
That makes
but they're
sense.
just in different areas and seeing this thing happen from different perspectives. So I
Yeah.
think, like, it'll go down and then it'll switch and we'll realize that Abby's watching but can't get to the people.
Yeah, like maybe it flips to like a different POV at the very end.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, that'd be something. That would be actually a really interesting kind of take on it. I don't know. I'm excited to see how they wrap this up to tie into the next season, but at the same time, I'm also kind of disappointed because I would just like a longer second season That's just my personal preference.
It's weird that like they went down in episode count. Like normally a second season would go up because they're more confident.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went backwards.
So
I would have thought they'd have gone up to 10 and then but then 10 is yeah, where we're at now after 5 episodes with only 2 to go,
yeah.
even 10 wouldn't have been enough.
Mm-hmm.
You would have had to push it up to yeah, probably 12 or
Well,
14. And then you're getting into quite long territory for these
a season.
big epic shows. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
this isn't like a Scrubs or a Friends or like a 20-minute half an
No,
hour Big Bang Theory half an hour
right.
sitcom show. These are big epic dramas, HBO level drama.
Even like Game of Thrones, like they only had like 8, maybe 10 episodes max in their seasons, and it's the same thing. Like
White Lotus.
White
White Lotus
Lotus,
has gone 7, 8, 9, I think, or
yeah,
8, 9, 10 or something.
it was like 7, or yes, no, it was. I thought it was 6, 7, and 9, whatever. Regardless, like they're not very lengthy seasons, which makes sense because they are such a big production. So I feel like if they had gone the route of doing 10 episodes for this season, yes, I would have been happy, but at the same time, I probably would have been pissed because if they had left off at 10 and then had to pick up season 3 after that to finish the second game, there wouldn't have been enough for a third season. It would have been cut short. They would have had like a 4 episode third season. So I feel like it's just kind of, it is what it is. We're kind of stuck the way that it is. I just always wish it was like a little bit more, but whatever.
Yeah. I think what's happened is they've just looked at the game and gone, there's a clear like
Uh,
midpoint for this game.
yeah.
So let's just do that as the midpoint and cut a season there and then do a season for the second half.
Right, because this game is significantly longer than the first one.
Yeah,
So
it's
it makes sense.
almost double the length, I think.
Yeah, so it makes sense to just like have it be a longer season, but clearly they didn't think about that. I mean, to be fair, also when you're doing a film adaptation, you really do have to figure out where you can cut it without leaving too much off and without revealing too much too. So it is a very fine line to walk, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they weren't going to cover the whole game in one season, then yeah,
Yeah.
this where I think it's going to cut is the most logical cut point.
Yeah.
So then, if we go back to early in the episode, where we get the little title stinger of day 2. So yeah, it looks like we're getting day 2, and then next week looks like it's going to be a flashback episode, like a kind of like the one we got in season 1 with
Hmm.
the gay couple.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be kind of like that, like a kind of standalone flashback episode.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
based on the close of this, I'm pretty sure that's what the next episode is, and then the finale will be the finale, obviously.
Yeah.
But we see Dina is like going into full intelligence officer mode, listening to the radio, triangulating where the WLF are to try and work out where Abby and Nora and all of the others are. Kind of just chat about like what's going on, how they're planning to do this, which is pretty cool. They talk about like they know that there's this Seraphite group,
Hmm.
but they talk about how the WLF, like these guys don't shut up when they're on the radio. They are incredibly confident. They talk on the radio like nobody's listening,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And it's like, okay, so nobody's listening. What is this other group? And even Dina says like, oh, maybe they're like the Amish.
Yeah. Which was my thought was initially. And then
It's the
entrails
most
everywhere.
logical, easy, simple way to explain it. But then Ella's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what that is.
I like how Ellie just doesn't know a whole lot of anything, and it's clearly obvious, even though she tries to pretend like, yeah, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's like, no, you don't.
That's the thing. Like she knows how to survive. She
Yeah.
doesn't know history. She doesn't know. She knows a lot of weird space shit, but
Hmm.
that's kind of her. That's her one like education track of like, oh, show me all the space stuff and all the
Yeah.
movie stuff. Everything else, fuck off. I don't do math.
Yeah. It's like she's like, oh yeah, I just have a protractor. Don't worry, I brought it. And I'm like, Do you know what a protractor is or how to use one?
No. She's like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So
There was one cool moment, though, where she leaves Dina to do her intelligence gathering and come up with the plan, which Dina is. She's the planner.
yeah.
Ellie goes off to play just explore the theater more, and she goes up on the stage and she teases playing the most iconic song from The Last of Us and doesn't play it, which is really frustrating because I'm like, oh, this is going to be the moment. We're going to get Pearl Jam's Future Days. And she kind of just plays like the first two chords and then puts it down. I'm like, ah. So I wonder if we get that next episode. I
I
think
really
we'll
hope
probably get
not.
it next episode in the flashback.
Oh, I hope not.
Well,
I'm an anti Pearl Jam person. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. I don't care if I get wrecked online for it or whatever. It's not my jam. All puns intended. Um,
well, well.
so I can live without that.
That song is like the unofficial theme song for this game. So like for them to like just give us that little sting but not actually follow through. I was like, ah.
All the nerds are gonna be like super pissed now. It's gonna be like, the fuck, just leave us hanging.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we might get it in the flashback where maybe Joel plays it for her or something.
Yeah, like teaches her how to play, maybe.
Yep. So then, yeah, once they figure out their plan, they talk about how the WLF are overconfident versus Ellie and Dina's recklessness. And Ellie's just like, all right, let's go be reckless. Even though that's like, Dina's like, that kind of washes out. Like, they're overconfident. They think they're totally alone. Nothing's going to come for them. We're reckless. We're just as stupid.
Yeah, like there is no happy medium. We are opposites of each other, but so like,
We have the element of surprise, but we're also nuts.
yep.
We don't know what we're going into. We really are kind of flying blind here. So
Yeah.
let's go be reckless.
Love it. Love it.
And they discuss baby names while walking to go and execute this plan before they come across a mass murder site under a mural of the prophet, which says the title of this episode, Feel Her Love. And
Yep.
this is where we kind of see like the real difference between game Ellie and HBO Ellie.
Okay.
This one, she kind of has second thoughts and she's like, Dina, you're pregnant. We need to get away from here. You can't be in this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it shows it like she's different from the game because she doesn't just have this red mist bloodlust of fuck everything, fuck everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go and do this and murder this person.
Sure.
How do you feel about how that kind of plays into the story?
I think it gives a little bit more structure probably to Dina and Ellie's like storyline together. Whereas like in the game, it sounds like just Ellie is just out for one thing and one thing only. Doesn't really care what happens in her path of destruction. So I feel like this is a kind of a good alternative. Like there's still that reckless part of her, but she has a little bit more of a connection now with Dina, and she is showing that she has a little bit of like a humility almost. So I actually like it. I'm not mad about it.
It definitely humanizes Ellie a bit more. It turns her from being like this just killing robot to an actual human being that cares
Yeah.
about Dina and cares about the people that she loves. So it kind of makes somewhat more of a justification for her wanting to go and kill Abby because she clearly does have like a love for the people that she cares about. So that's a nice change.
Yeah, it gives her a purpose other than just revenge for Joel, but like it does give her a purpose to want to protect people around her. So I do appreciate that a lot actually. Because without that, I feel like she would just be a killing robot machine and there would be zero connectability with her as a person, probably.
And then it does play into later in the episode when she does finally encounter Nora and you see that like switch flip where she goes
Hmm.
from kind of a human being and then she becomes that rage fueled just murder machine where
Yeah.
she picks up that pipe, which is I love the little touch of it being a L pipe, so it's kind of like a golf club, but not a golf
Hmm.
club. So
Yes.
it kind of mirrors what happened to Joel.
Yep.
And then we get some more Dina backstory, which I'm pretty sure we don't get in the game, where she reveals her first kill and how she snuck out because she was sick of being locked at home after the outbreak. And then she had to run home and kill a raider who had killed her parents and family
Yep.
but hadn't left yet. So, what did you think of that part and how it ties into their relationship, and how does it change how you feel about Dina as well?
I think it gives a better perspective on Dina and probably why she seems very closed off from a lot of people. Like she is more outgoing than Ellie, but she still seems super reserved. And I feel like it's just because she's dealt with so much shit and she's seen a lot of shit. It's also probably why she's always just like, oh yeah, dead bodies don't bother me, and then bleh, I'm throwing up because I'm pregnant. But yeah, I think it shows that she's not like she's not fragile and she doesn't need Ellie to really look after her. So I think it really ties into that whole partnership versus like damsel in distress and savior kind of
Mhm.
character layout. So I like that a lot actually about Dina's character, especially now, and you have a different sense of respect for her probably at this point.
Yeah, I liked it because, like, in that moment where we're seeing Ellie, like, question what we're doing, maybe we should just go home. It then contrasts with Dina, where you kind of see that she's kind of quite angry and has that rage and bloodlust that we're not quite getting from Ellie yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of ties into then why she's so empathetic with Ellie, and she knows that Ellie needs this in order
Yeah,
to move on. Like, if they don't go and do this, Ellie's not going to be right forever.
right.
She's always going to have that lingering, I just should have done that. Why didn't I do that? And have that anger's going to end up settling in her and obviously come out at later points
Yeah.
in probably not so nice
Worse.
ways. But like I've said since basically every episode, these two are phenomenal actors because they both nail this entire
Mm-hmm.
sequence.
They do. They have great chemistry on screen. Like they just flow very well together. Nothing feels forced between the two of them or anything like that. Whereas you watch some things and you're like, oh, you can tell those people absolutely hate each other probably off screen and they just cannot make it work. But yeah, they're wonderful together.
Yeah, like they go from that like funny joking about baby names and stuff like that to then Ellie being like really concerned and worried to then like it pans over to Dina, who's like clearly got this anger, deep seated anger in her over what she had to do and sadness over her family. And then like that connecting back to Ellie. It's like this scene is brilliant.
Yeah. It's a really moving scene actually, and I think it just makes the characters more relatable now, and you can get a better understanding of they're not just out for revenge. They're out to just protect everybody, but also take care of their own well-being. Because, like you said, like if Dina can recognize if Ellie doesn't take care of this, she's gonna be fucked,
Yeah.
and it won't be good later on at all.
And it gives us a little bit of insight too into the Seattle dynamics of like the WLF and the Seraphites. Like there's some pretty messed up shit going on here because there was probably what a dozen people there just killed in a firing squad against a mural and clearly
Yeah.
in that specific spot because of that mural.
Yep. I feel like it's they're almost like going toe to toe with massacring each other at this point. Like both factions are just so at each other's throats. And you still haven't really gotten, and I don't know if you will unless it's like next season, you haven't really gotten like a whole backstory on why they have such an awful dynamic other than the fact that like they both probably want like absolute ultimate power of the area or whatever.
I think the WLF do. I think the Seraphites just want to be fucking left alone.
Probably, but at the same time they're fucking retaliating in ways that I never expected. So I mean they're not doing much for their case.
Yeah, I think like the thing is like we said last week, that it's the Israel Palestine thing where
Yeah.
the WLF are Israel and they just want to wipe the Seraphites off the face of the earth.
Yep.
And the Seraphites is like, just fucking leave us alone. But then they keep getting attacked. So then they're like, well, fuck you. If you're going to kill half a dozen of our people,
We're just gonna
we're going to
fucking
kill half a dozen of your people and make like a spectacle out of it. So
yeah.
maybe you go, okay, this isn't worth it. But the WLF are so stubborn. They're like, no, fuck you. We're going to come back and hit you even harder. And it's just the cycle of violence.
Yeah, because like when WLF kill them, like it's not like yes, they torture them and then just essentially get fed up and kill them. Whereas the Seraphites are just like, oh, we're not going to torture you. We're just going to gut the fuck out of you and then
While
leave
you're
you
alive.
hanging while you're alive.
While
Yeah,
you're alive.
we're
Yeah.
we're going to gut you alive and then leave you hanging. So I feel like they're even more ruthless than WLF, which is really interesting to see.
One other thing I wrote down about the Dina reveal of her first kill, she talks about being from Santa Fe.
Hmm.
That's an allusion to there's a epilogue in the game.
Oh,
Like after Seattle, we end up
hmm.
in Santa Fe.
Interesting.
Nice little
That's
tie-in because I'm pretty sure in the game we don't know that Dina's from Santa Fe. So for
hmm.
then later in the game when we go to Santa Fe, now I'm like, ah, cool. Nice little tie-in without it like actually meaning anything. I don't
A
think.
whole lot. That's interesting. I know, weren't they
I think
supposed
it's
to
just
be?
like a coincidence.
That would be interesting, like, because they aren't they supposed to rumor to be making the third game or whatever have you? And like, yes and no.
It's weird because like after the end of game two, they need a
Hmm.
game three more than they needed a game two after the first one.
Yeah,
But then Neil is like, I don't think we're gonna do it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I just think it would be fun if they the third game somehow tied into Santa Fe now, and like,
Oh, I'm pretty sure it will. Based on how
okay,
the game ends. If it's
yeah,
not Santa Fe based, they've
they
really
fucked
messed
up.
it up.
I was just gonna say, like, that would be an interesting like way of like tying that in. So now, no matter what, like if there is another game that gets made, HBO could essentially just pick it up and be like, oh, we're gonna do another one and watch what happens. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that the content is still there and that there's still a possibility of it branching out further. So that's really fun, actually. I like that a lot.
And like I said, this episode really revolves around Ellie and her. This episode really pushes the TV Ellie closer to game Ellie and that unchecked bloodlust. What did you think of sort of the evolution of Ellie in this episode?
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. It will be interesting for me to see how if this next episode is just nothing but a flashback, then I'm not going to get the what I'm looking for. However, if it is like a partial flashback episode and then we still get like modern day time frame, I'm interested to see how Ellie comes back from flipping her switch. Like if she has a way of flipping it back to where she's not going completely psychotic. Um or if she can't do it, or if like Dina has to be that person that ties her back to her like reality of being okay again. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I like seeing how Ellie really did flip the switch though, because it was a matter of like a blink of an eye. She went from being just I'm on the hunt for somebody to I'm ruthless and I'm going to kill you in the worst possible way.
Yeah, like it kind of happens. It's not like an instant flip. Like we see her running through the park to get away after. Like Dina gets shot in the leg with the arrow,
Yeah.
and that like sets something off on Ellie. Like, what the fuck? Don't
Hmm.
hurt her. And then she's running away, and she sees the hospital in the distance,
Yeah.
and that's where it kind of flicks a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, that's where I need to go." All right, full on assassin mode right now.
Hmm.
And then when she gets up close and personal with Nora, that's when she like supercharge, full red mist. I'm gonna destroy you right now.
Yeah, I feel like it was when like I feel like she actually for me, I feel like she had it all under control until she confronted Nora and Nora started talking mad shit. That for me
Yeah.
was when I watched Ellie literally go from like 0 to 60 because she seemed like she was in complete
The
control.
moment she talks shit about Joel is like, well,
Bam.
fuck you.
Yeah, because
All I wanted was to find out where Abby was, but now you're being a dickhead, and
yeah.
I'm really gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, she seemed like she had complete control over the situation. She seemed very composed, like very like by the book and this is all I need from you. Like please just give me this information. That's all I'm asking for you. And then the moment that Nora decided to be a smart mouth, it was just like, okay, fuck you. I'm done with this. Like you're not giving me what I want. You're dead.
Yeah, that's a great moment where she like switches. You can't talk shit about Joel. What the fuck? No. Nobody talks shit about Joel. That's my dude.
I also love how Nora tries to like justify their actions, like Ellie's going to give literally two fucks. She's just explaining like, did you know what he did? And she's just like, yeah, mm-hmm,
Yeah. On that, like when she
yep,
says like Nora realizes, oh, you're the immune girl.
yeah,
You're real. Like they didn't even think she was real. The
yeah. It was
fact
just
that
like
they're
a
now like, oh,
story.
you're real. Like holy shit.
Yeah,
But then yeah, she talks shit about Joel. You killed us both before she realizes, oh shit, Ellie's immune. You're her. You're real.
yeah,
And then like talks about how he was Abby's dad. He was the only doctor that could do anything. Do you know what he did? And Ellie says, yeah, I already knew. What did you think of that moment where she already knew? Like, how does she know?
I think possibly honestly in this episode, this flashback episode that we might be getting, this might be the turning point where we picked up in season two. And it ties into where Joel and Ellie have a disconnect because maybe he's just too honest with her and it kind of like fucks with her. I'm not really sure. But I feel like that we might see that conversation happen, or, you're just led to believe that they actually did have that conversation. Or maybe she was bluffing. Maybe they never actually had a conversation, but because Nora is spitting all this shit out, Ellie's just like, fuck it, Joel's already dead, so I'm just gonna lie anyway and say, yeah, I fucking knew, and just gonna fuck off.
Are you a trading card collector or a fan of Australian pro wrestling? If so, you're not going to want to miss out on the limited edition Australian wrestling cards. Each set includes 50 packs of 10 cards, including some of the country's top wrestling talents like Robbie Eagles, Shane Haste, Madison Eagles, Hartley Jackson, and they have Shaza McKenzie listed, although she is not a favorite. The velocities, and a lot more. There's wrestlers, referees, announcers, commentators that are featured, giving you a full appreciation of the Australian independent scene. The cards sold out a lot faster because cards are hot right now, as I'm sure Jeremy Lambert will tell you. But you can order your Australian wrestling cards now at Pario Magazine. That's PARIO magazine.com.au/AUS WRES cards. Follow Australian Wrestling Cards on social media at AusResCards for updates. Join the hundreds of fans who have already discovered the excitement of Australian wrestling cards.
This is hard because I know
You
I'm pretty
know.
sure I know what's going to happen in this next episode. It's a flashback, and it is them. So I'll spoil this for you now, and like give you an idea of what's coming.
Oh, good. Yay.
So it's going to be twofold, I think. Like this episode is going to be like when Joel comes in to wake her up. He's waking her up early because they're about to go back to Salt Lake City
Mm-hmm.
to like go to the hospital, and like he's going to explain like she had questions of like what the fuck happened, what were they doing, like
Yeah.
what happened there. So he's going to take her back there and like explain like this is why we did this, this is what happened,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. They're going to come across like a dinosaur. I think it's like a dinosaur and space museum thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they come across that. That's where we're going to get that space shuttle scene. And then like, yeah, obviously he's going to reveal like they were going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like in order for you to like be the cure, they had
They
to
have to
kill
kill
you.
you.
And then that's that breaking point of her. She's like, I was willing to do that, but
Yeah.
you say like you stopped me, and now everyone's fucked. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
me or millions of people. What the fuck? I
Yeah.
would have happily sacrificed. My life would have had some sort of meaning. Now it's just endless shit.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we'll go back, and I think we may also get, so in that first episode, how it ends with her walking past him into the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we may also get the rest of that scene, because I
Mm.
think what happened there is she goes to walk past, gets a few steps down the driveway, and then goes back. And then they have a
Words.
conversation, like reconcile.
Yeah.
And that's why she had the guitar back in her room at the start of episode 2. And
Mm-hmm.
she's talking about how she was, I was about to go out on patrol with Joel and everything's all good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get all of that sort of play into it. And then that's why it's going to be so much more justified in her having that rage that we see at the end of this episode.
Because
So, yeah.
she is no stopping her. Like, you don't even, I feel like almost Ellie, like the humane part of Ellie dies in that scene, like in that entire sequence. When she's just conversing with Nora, I feel like there is no like humanity in her. She's blank. She's a zombie.
Yeah, she goes from killing for a purpose to killing for revenge and because she enjoys it, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you.
hmm
You deserve this. I'm doing this because I want to do this, not
Yeah.
because it's kill or be killed.
hmm
Because Nora's dying no matter what because she's just walked through all these spores, but Ellie has to take it to that one extra step. Like, I'm not gonna belt your head in yet. I'm gonna break your legs like you just did to Joel.
Yeah, and it's almost like Ellie, I don't know if it was just the way I interpreted her facial expressions, but Ellie looks, even though she is pretty much emotionless and just like a blank slate, she almost seems pleased or like slightly like humored by Nora's suffering.
Oh yeah, she's enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, which made it even more insane and just kind of gives you that more of a look into how far gone Ellie is when she gets into that mindset.
Yep. Yeah, like that is full bloodlust.
Yeah.
Has taken over now and she's happy to do this, and in her mind, Nora deserves every last bit of this pain and suffering before
Even
she
though
dies.
even though Nora didn't necessarily do everything, she didn't do anything to stop Abby. So there's that.
Yeah.
And also she said some fucked up shit, so get fucked.
So we'll talk about the hospital assault, and then we'll go back to the moment in the park as well. I love too when she gets into the hospital. As she's going into the hospital, we see the dogs on patrol. That's like a cool tie into the game as well, because later we find out that they have a whole like dog patrol group that they have to go out and in the game you have to kill a lot of dogs.
I don't like that. Oh no.
Yeah, because the dogs are fucking bad news bears, because they can sniff.
No.
They sniff Ellie out. So
Oh
like if a dog
no.
catches you, you gotta take those motherfuckers out.
You're
Stab
fucked.
them in the neck.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
awful.
you wrestle a dog and you'll stab it in the neck a lot.
Oh no. I don't know if I want to go back and play this game now at this point. Like,
Well, I popped them with arrows from a distance a lot, because I was like, I'm not fucking with no dogs.
no. Oh no. And I'm more of like that whole I'm gonna stab everything and then die because I should have just used bullets at that point, but
Yeah, you gotta take the dogs out with arrows, because like when they sniff you out, like they bark as well, and then that alerts all of the guards. So it's like, oh shit.
yeah. Especially if you're trying to be stealthy. Yeah, get fucked. Damn, that kind of sucks. But that is really fun. I like how the dog was like clearly on the trail, and when he gets to the hole, the guard is just like, "Oh, you fucking idiot! Like you probably smelled like a rat or something." Like totally oblivious.
They're like not thinking a young kid is or a small girl is coming after them. They're thinking
Yeah,
like no adult could fit through that hole, so it's obviously
right.
nothing. It's obviously just a raccoon or something, like whatever.
Yeah,
Nope. It is a murderous little girl.
yeah.
She's gonna fuck some shit up.
Oh yeah.
And I love when Ellie like initially confronts Nora too, and when she says Nora's name, Nora's like, "What the fuck? How do you know who I am?"
Yeah, like she knows all of them, and I feel like they're all going to have a similar reaction, which is fantastic. I mean, that's if she ends up meeting all of the others before the end of the season, but whatever, wishful thinking.
And then yeah, she chases Nora through the hospital. Nora resorts to escaping through the elevator shaft, ultimately falling down to level B2 of the 3 basement levels, which is not great.
Yeah.
We get some very classic shitty bad guy shooting throughout this episode, where they could not hit the fucking side of a barn from 3 feet away if they tried.
So yeah, they're like stormtroopers.
Yep. They chase Ellie and Nora. Nora goes down, falls down the shaft. Ellie's like there, like contemplating, like, how the fuck am I going to get to her now? Like she's 2 stories down. Screw it, I'm getting in this elevator shaft because these people are shooting at me. And
Yeah.
then when the soldiers see that Ellie's going down in the shaft, they're like, nope, fuck that. The elevator shaft's open. We need to seal this off. And they don't bother chasing. It's like, what the fuck is in the basement that they are like that
They're
deadly
done.
scared of that they do not want to even go in that hallway
Yeah.
where the elevator shaft is? They're like, oh, just shut this door and seal it off.
And pretend that nothing happened. Also, I love the fact that in every movie and or show where there is like a on foot chase through a hospital, someone throws a wheelchair down an aisle and someone trips on it every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. The classic, ugh.
Yeah, if it's not a wheelchair, it's a cart, like one of the carts with like meds in it or something like that. But they always shove it down the hallway and someone always runs into it. I'm like, dude, can we just learn by now that there's eventually going to be something thrown down the hallway?
Sidestep the wheelchair. What are you doing?
Yeah, like and then she got right back up like real quick, like, oh, that was nothing. That's cool.
And then once we're down in the basement, this is where we get the full-on intro to spores. We see them like they're clearly visible in the air. The entire level, like wall to ceiling, covered in cordyceps growth, and we see the infected trapped in the walls, like I mentioned in one of our earlier episodes.
Yeah.
What did you think of this sort of intro to the spores concept?
Well, I know that is how in the game they are supposed to be as airborne spores. So I know a lot of people were confused and some people were upset that that was not how it was in season one. So I'm glad that they were able to finally introduce the spores in a really well done manner. The sequences where the cordyceps essentially have the infected like stuck in them reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean with like Davy Jones, where he has like all of the crew members stuck to the ship. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite things in the world to actually watch that happen in multiple different ways. So yeah, I love that. I think I even told you I liked the entire scene so much. Like I hope to God Horror Nights, like Universal takes some notes and they decide to do another Horror Nights house for that. I really hope that they're able to replicate that because it's this is my favorite scene in this entire episode is this whole sequence. And so I feel like if Universal does it right, they will be able to like pump in like Snope, that's what I call it, through the air vents or something in the house and just make it look like the spores are everywhere and stuff like that. But it'd be so much fun to walk through a maze like that, and I love all of it. Everywhere Ellie turns, she like runs into something that she doesn't quite understand, and you can see that on her expression. She kind of is just trying to grasp what she's even looking at. Like she knows what it is, but she doesn't quite understand how it happened. So I like that that as well.
Yeah, I thought this was a great intro to the concept of the spores and like is a great way to show how the cordyceps is evolving to like obviously the tendrils thing was a bit weird when it was first introduced,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes sense that like not all viruses begin as airborne viruses.
Right.
They kind of generally like saliva and stuff like that. And then they become airborne when they need to become more infectious.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way that this evolves is like when it traps the people in the walls, they're still alive, kind of
Yeah.
like they're breathing still. And that's the like thing that's like pumping the spores into the air. It's not just the spores are coming off the growth.
It's
Like it's
being
them breathing is
yeah.
pumping them into the air, which makes so much sense and like really makes it terrifying when from now on,
Mm-hmm.
anytime they go into a building and see shit growing on the walls, they're going to be like, oh, fuck, we need masks.
Yeah.
And like the fact that it infected Nora and impacted her so quickly, like she's already coughing, choking, and like spluttering of like, I'm fucked. Like I know I'm dying. I'm about
Yeah.
to turn any moment now. And then Ellie, like full monster mode, red lights all around. She's just walking down this hallway like, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
that's like the trigger for Nora to be like, oh shit, you're her.
Yeah, you're not a
You're
myth.
real. You're
You're
not
real.
just a myth, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, her realization was fantastic and there's no like urgency with Ellie. She is just like going at her own pace because she is enjoying Nora just suffering and she knows that she's going to inflict more on her. So Ellie's like casual like stride towards her and then her consistent just where is Abby? Where is Abby? Eventually it's like you're going to fucking die, so why don't you just tell me anyway kind of moment.
And like even when Ellie starts like belting her with this club pipe,
Yeah.
she still refuses to tell her, and then that's when the rage really comes through. She's like, all right, I'm just gonna belt the absolute flying crap out of you, and you're gonna die.
Yeah, no
I'm
need
not
for
gonna let
any
you
of
like get infected and turn and become a fucking spore pumper. You're just dying.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like Ellie in her own mind is probably just like, even if you become infected, you're still living, and Joel did not get that opportunity, so neither are you.
Yeah, she's got a checklist. So then, like I said, there's one other like big action sequence in this, and it's almost twofold. This one with they go into the factory to begin with, which is eerily silent, and that you see that sort of unsettled Dina, like it's too quiet in here. Like
Hmm.
for something that we believe is probably riddled with infected, and that's why the WLF don't even bother going in here.
Yeah.
It's very quiet. And we find out that's because it's full of stalkers, not just your standard infected runners.
Yeah, they are the smart ones, as Ellie puts it. These are the smart ones.
And like they initially think, oh, there's only one. Like we'll just split up and we'll outflank it and outsmart it. And then they look again and it's like, oh shit, there's like two. Okay, 1-on-1.
Yeah.
That's dangerous, but we can probably like tag team this. And like they're also like going into this being like, no guns. Because if as soon as we shoot, we are fucked because the WLF are going to swarm at that point.
Yep.
So only stabbing. We're going full Corrina mode, only stabbing stab.
Yeah, this doesn't really work
And
for me
then
in the game.
and then they look again and they're like, oh, there's like 10 of these things. We are fucked.
Yeah, they just kept coming out of the woodwork. I will say that the graphics for them and like the animation on them, some of it is not the best on some of the like further away ones for
To be
me.
fair, is we watched a preview screener, so it may not be like fully complete.
I don't know, because I feel like sometimes, even when I went back and watched like the whole avalanche of zombies, essentially, or of the infected, some of them didn't look very clean either. When I went back and watched the released one, so I don't know. I hope that that's not the case, because I love this show and I feel like they do a really good job. But sometimes I feel like maybe a little bit of it's getting away, and they're relying a little bit too much on CG for bigger projects like this.
I think the big problem with this is like these are such big, grand sets with a lot of infected, not just like one or 2.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot going on in these.
Yeah. But they're still weird and creepy and shit like that. It's just that sometimes when I look at them, it gives me like vibes of like those like older like horror movies where like you see like grandma climbing on the roof, like spidering on the roof and stuff like that, like in an obscure way. But they're still fun. I think they're probably one of my favorite like variants of the infected because they are so stealthy and quiet in comparison.
They sound great when they do like the little like cackles and stuff, like the
Yeah.
soft cackling in the distance. Oh, that's pulled. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that sound is pulled straight from the game. It just sounds great.
Yeah, they're freaky.
And then Ellie sort of has to reveal to Dina, like she's like, "Oh, we can handle them. Like you killed one before, right?" And Ellie's like, "Yeah, but not before it bit me." She's like, "What?
Whoops.
What was I gonna do? I couldn't tell you then. I had to tell you once you saw me get bitten, but up until that point, I was keeping it a secret pretty well."
Yeah, did a great job.
Ultimately, they get overrun, but as they're getting overrun, someone comes to the rescue. What did you think of the return of Jesse?
I don't need him. He's annoying me.
Why?
He has no purpose for me. Um, like I get it. Like he was great at the time because he was like their saving grace, and if he hadn't been there, then there would be no more story.
Got in the leg like they'd been fucked.
Yeah, I, however, feel like his being there is just not necessary because he's not there to do anything good. He's just there to be a fucking retriever, essentially. So he annoys me because his purpose is not to go and assist. His purpose is to acquire and bring back. And that's what irritates me about him.
I don't know. I thought it was cool. I like the return of Jesse, and he reveals that Tommy is also there directly. I think they character swapped for this rescue as well. Like, I think it's this moment. It might be a different moment. Might get another one later. But there's a moment in the game where you're like, I'm so screwed. Like we are trying to escape this thing. We are so fucked. And then a sniper starts like taking out the bad guys, and you're like, what? And it's Tommy, but
Oh,
in
okay.
this one it's Jesse. So I don't know if it's like a slightly reworked thing or if it happens again later when the three of them need rescuing and Tommy rescues them.
Huh.
So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I liked the return of Jesse.
His character is just annoying. I don't know. He came in like Billy Badass. Like, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead. And like, yes, we acknowledge that that is probably accurate, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
Especially when he's like, what would you have done if we didn't come here? And I was like, we were fine before you got here. And yeah, until we weren't. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like she can't say thank you, but she's like acknowledging of like, yeah, we were pretty screwed.
Yeah. I also kind of am annoyed though because after Dina gets shot in the leg, like we don't see anything again about them because everything's just focused on Ellie at that point. So I feel like they're kind of just like hanging out there in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if they like made it to their rendezvous point. I don't know if they're just like dying somewhere in a corner because they got shot by a ricocheted bullet from someone else. I don't know what happened to them.
It was an arrow. She took an arrow in the leg.
Oh,
she took an arrow to the knee.
That's, yes.
Full Skyrim mode. I'm pretty sure Jesse like just picked Dina up and like legged it out of there and goes back to the theater. And that was what Ellie was supposed to do until she saw the hospital. Like, ooh, piece of candy, gotta do this. And then yeah, once they escape the factory, run away from the WLF who are chasing them, they decide, oh look, go in this park. We'll run in here and we'll lose them in the park with all the trees and foliage and stuff, and we'll be fine.
Yep.
And they get like 20 meters in, and the WLF get to the gate. You're like, oh fuck this. Yeah, what did you think of that moment when it's like, what's in the freaking bush?
That should have been a tell. Like if the WLF aren't going in there, guns a blazing too, mind you. Like there's got to be something going on. And I think like even one of them is just like, oh great, more infected kind of thing. But in my head, I'm just like, if it were infected, like they would have had no problem running in there and just like shooting random infected.
They would have cleared out the park during the day anyway. Like,
yeah.
Yes, going in there at nighttime when it's dark, if it's full of infected, dangerous because you might not see them coming.
Right.
During it would have been clear. It'd be perfectly fine. You'd have just wiped it clear.
Yeah. So for me, I was just like, there's gotta be more to this as to why they're not going in. And instead of just finding like a side exit pathway, no, they gotta be smart and they gotta go deeper into the fucking park. And I'm like, bro, like there should have been like a workaround somewhere. Like you could have found like a slid through some bars or something like that and a fence. Like don't keep going deeper and deeper into the damn park, hoping that you come out on the other side.
I think why they were doing that though is because like the theater is like directly opposite the park. So if like we'll just cut through here, if they're not chasing us, we'll be totally fine now.
That didn't work so well.
In that moment, we are then reintroduced to the scars. In the game, this is the first encounter you have with the scars, with the going through this park, and you hear the whistle. You know, what is this?
Oh, good.
And that's terrifying. I thought this like captured that sense of like scariness of like, who are these people? What's going on? And then we get to like watch them gut this WLF soldier right in front of them. Dina once again can't watch because she doesn't want to like throw up and make noise.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a gruesome scene. They really fully lent into, we're going to show this and make it as gross and graphic as possible. What did you think of that scene?
I'm not mad about it. I like when things are emphasized and they don't cut away from like torture sequences like that because it just makes it feel more like involved. It reminded me very much of watching Vikings, like when they did like I forget what the fucking terminology was for it. But it was essentially when they filleted the guy's back open and like pulled his skin back in Vikings to like expose like his muscles and stuff like that while he was still alive. Oh, you've never watched Vikings?
I watched part of it. I never got to that bit. Holy
Oh, that's
Jesus.
a really intense sequence. But yeah, they literally like slice a guy's, I think it was his back, and they like rip his skin off and like you can see his lungs or something like that. I don't remember. It was really graphic and really fucking cool. And so for me,
only you would describe it as cool.
I'm that weirdo who's like, yes, let me watch somebody get filleted on TV. But no. So for me, like I'm always like super like intrigued by torture sequences like that to see like how they go about doing it. So the fact that like they just literally like slice the guy straight down and across and like entrails everywhere while he's still alive, I was like, well, that's pretty cool and intense. Like, holy shit, intense, and I wasn't expecting it, but still fucking cool.
It's definitely up there. And I love like it's not the like the leader guy. Like he doesn't like pull the blade down.
No,
He
it's
kind of
like
just
very
sticks it in the
smooth.
dude, and then they pull the guy up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So, yeah,
it's so much fun to like.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
It is, and what's crazy is now that you've seen that, looking at the hanging bodies in the other episode where they're strung up, now you can understand like how they got to that way because like all of those people probably went through the same exact thing where they were like had a blade stuck to them and then just hiked up there.
Yeah, it makes that news studio scene even more intense because it's like they weren't gutted once they were dead.
No, they were.
It makes you realize
totally
they
alive.
were alive for a while.
Yeah. So that's insane.
What does that do to change your perception of the Seraphites and the dynamic between the Seraphites and the WLF?
I mean, they're equally as fucked, just in different ways. I feel like the Seraphites are doing this because they feel like this is. It's almost like they're sacrificing people to their profit, because they're not seeing her ways and like they're trying to, I don't know, appease her or something like that, maybe. Whereas WLF is just like this is a case of survival and power kind of moment. So yeah, I don't know. I still think they're interesting. I still want to know more about them and how they came to be in that situation and what made them decide to do that. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I like them. They're still my favorite like bad guys essentially.
It's a further cementing of like these aren't just your peace loving hippies that are just getting screwed over by the WLF. Like these guys are just as terrifying and dangerous as the WLF. So Ellie and Dina have really popped themselves into a very perilous position by coming to Seattle to begin with.
Especially because what's more impressive about the Seraphites to me is that they communicate strictly on just like whistling as a form of outside communication. So they are doing all of this ridiculous craziness and moving through the network without any radios at all, and they just depend on listening to different pitches and different lengths of whistles. So it's a really smart move on their part, actually, to be so radio silent and to be that old fashioned, I guess, or caveman like.
It's just great because it gives them that like slight tactical advantage with the WLF as well, because we see the Seraphites talking, so they are clearly English speakers. They can understand English. So if they are in like a head-to-head combat encounter with the WLF, whatever they overhear, they can use that to their advantage. But then they can communicate with whistles, and the WLF are not going to have any idea what that means. So it's a little tactical advantage. And then as we close out, we said that there's this flashback sequence with Joel waking Ellie up, and it's like the happiest you see her pretty much ever in this show. That, like I said, suggests that we're going to get more of the hospital revelations of what happened at the end of season 1. We'll get that museum space center segment with the space capsule. What did you think of it? I know you hated this ending.
I believe I text you "fuck that ending" in all caps when I was done with this, because I was so mad. I was very angry. I would have been happy if they had just left it at like Ellie being the fuck out of Nora and calling it a day, but no. I don't know. I'm presuming that this flashback sequence, when eventually it's finished, Ellie's gonna wake up from like blacking out or something like that. But I hate this fucking ending. I hate cliffhangers that are like that. Don't give me like 2 seconds of, oh, happy go lucky, look at this, Joel's alive kind of moment. Because people like my fucking mom are gonna be in there like, what the fuck's happening? Why? I can already hear it now. And so now I'm going to have the job of explaining to her, oh hey, don't worry, it's just going to be a flashback, instead of, oh yeah, this was all a dream and Ellie's gonna wake up and Joel's not really dead kind of thing. So this gives me hard. This is making me work now, and I don't like that. So fuck them.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Of like, ending on her like destroying Nora would have been pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I guess the issue with ending it there is that almost feels like a season end.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
So like they kind of had to give you like, no, you need to come back next week because there's more of this story. And look, Joel's back. You know, what the? Yeah, and I can see like there's going to be a lot of people having like questions like, what? How is Joel? What is going on? And yeah, I think it's going to, like, I don't think she's going to like pass out from like anything. I think it's just going to be like, while she's in this full on red
Hmm.
mist bloodlust mode of belting Nora, all of these memories are coming back about Joel, and that's like fueling the
Fueling her.
rage even more. And
Sure.
then like she gets through this flashback and then looks on what she's done to Nora and realizes, oh, I just did that.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah,
I'll be interested to see what the tease is at the end of the next episode of like, how do we tease to then continue into the finale?
yeah.
If it's all
Or
flashback, we can't just have all flashback and then no tease. There's got to
that's
be
true.
some moment of her like coming out of it and like moving us to the next phase.
Unless they do it in pieces. I
Yeah,
don't know.
they
That's a
could do that.
theory. That's a theory that I'm now like working in my head. Like if she has like a flashback moment while she's killing Nora, then she snaps out of it. And then
And yeah, while she's
she
on her way
continues
back
on.
to the theater, she has more
She keeps
memories as she's
having
going through.
yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting and fantastic. I wouldn't actually be mad at that point. But if I get like a full-blown flashback episode, I'm going to be happy about it because I'm all about backstory and character development and stuff like that, having not played the game. I'm just going to be annoyed because now I have to wait 2 weeks essentially to get back to modern present what's happening with the Abby pursuit.
I think this flashback will be very emotional. Like it'll be a great episode, and I think it's directed by Neil, so it's going to be really faithful and really get to that heart and core of the story. So
Yeah.
until then, what did you rate episode 5? Feel Her Love.
This is my 5 out of 5 episode so far for this season. I love this episode. It's so much fun. I love it just because of the reveal with the spores and the cordyceps. Ellie kind of coming to terms with just the fact that she's killing somebody and can't control herself at that point. The pacing of it was fantastic for me. There were moments of, super like intense edge of your seat kind of things. And then there were also like calm moments too, where you still see like Ellie and Dina caring for each other. So I loved it. It was so well balanced and just so well done. And yeah, I don't have a bad thing to really say about this episode for the most part. It worked wonders for me.
Just an ending was.
I'm gonna pretend that the ending doesn't fucking exist, and I'm gonna go into next week's episode with a clean slate of I don't remember this ever happening. Like I suddenly got amnesia.
Yeah, I would probably give this a 5 as well. Like, it's not as emotionally gripping as the previous episode, but like the moments we get, this pushes this much more closer to game Ellie, and the touchstones we get of the Seraphite reveal, the spores reveal again, pushing it more closely towards the game, and awesome action sequences. And yeah, that bloodlust, rage fueled Ellie was great, and the performances by Ellie and Dina. How like I get that they're not, especially Ellie. Like she doesn't look like the Ellie from the game, but
No.
you cannot criticize Bella Ramsey's performances. Like she's an incredible actor,
Mm-hmm.
and Isabella Merced is a brilliant actor as well. And she was crazy busy during the filming of this.
Yeah.
So she was filming this and the upcoming Superman
Okay.
whilst promoting Alien Romulus and some other thing as well at the same time. So
That's
you're busy. Like
bonkers.
2025 is going to be the year of Isabella Merced with
Everything.
this coming out. She's in a goddamn the new Superman movie. And I
Yeah.
think she's got something else coming out this year as well. Like she's
That's a lot.
brilliant.
Busy. They're fantastic. Both of them have perfect on-screen chemistry. Their characters, they really do embody the characters. Whether people want to talk about the way that they look or whatever have you. People are just fucking stupid and not, you can't please everybody. Okay. But yeah, like their acting capabilities are amazing, and the way that they bring the character to life on screen, you can tell that they really
That's
do
what
care
matters.
about their character. Yeah. So, I don't care that Bella is not the perfect Ellie. You're never going to have the perfect Ellie because she's not fucking real. She's a fucking computer made character. Like,
Hmm.
you're never going to get that. So just be happy that they're able to portray the character and their personality so fucking well.
Yeah, and they couldn't just like bring in it's Ashley Johnson to play her because she's too
She's too
old.
old.
So
She's
like they
way
had to
too
get
old.
someone else. And yeah, Bella might not look exactly the way you want her to look, but you cannot criticize how she brings this character to life. It
Right.
embodies the character.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's a different Ellie too. Like it's a more
It's not a carbon
human
copy.
Ellie
Yeah.
until the very end of this episode.
Yeah. I'm happy though with it.
Alrighty. Until next episode, thank you for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and YouTube. You can follow Corrina on Instagram at Miss Corrina Renee, and you can follow me on social media at Jamie Apps Media and at Pario Magazine. The commentary booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support.